Hello everybody, welcome to Wonderful Monaco. This is Vlad. I'm introducing the show with SPAC Chat, IMC Monaco. I'm very honored and proud today. We have such incredible guests with us for an exclusive interview. Actually, we are meeting today Michael Terpin, who is a great entrepreneur, founder of CoinAgenda, and BITAngels from Puerto Rico, and Andreea Porcelli, the CEO of Swift Growth Forum from Las Vegas. So welcome to our guest today. It's a beautiful day actually. We are very lucky to be here, and we are Stars and Bars StarDeck Live.
Thanks very much. Tell us more about, what you're anticipating for Innovate Monte Carlo, and of course, the summer season in Monaco, when we're going to start having business and investor conferences, among which, of course, the SGF Summer Edition, our 23rd edition in Monaco, is coming back. We're very excited. And we're going to start announcing keynote speakers, first among which Michael Terpin of CoinAgenda, who we're so happy to have, also because we will be working with Michael and his incredible team on CoinAgenda Monaco, the first EU CoinAgenda since 2018, anticipating the one in Las Vegas in October of this year.
Well, I have to say we are very excited and really grateful, because after the post-pandemic and the COVID almost over, what better place than Monaco to start the new era of cryptocurrency, of fintech and blockchains and all those great things that we are developing all together. I think Monaco is ready for this, and the whole world is ready for this new era. So I'm all with you, and I think we are going to do great.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce the founder of CoinAgenda and BITAngels, Mr. Michael Terpin, who is coming to you from lovely Puerto Rico. And he is going to be our very special guest today in our interview with Innovate Monte Carlo. We're going to be talking about the current bull run, of course, that blockchain and Bitcoin is seeing, and what he anticipates for the rest of the year. And of course, some of the exciting meetings and conferences that are being planned, both in the US, the big Las Vegas CoinAgenda in October, and now in Europe in September, CoinAgenda Europe. So Michael, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Andreea. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, what made you sort of focus in on Europe this year? Are you seeing a renaissance of, what we saw that started in Europe back in 2017?
Yes. I've been involved in the crypto world since early 2013 when I founded BITAngels with David Johnston, who actually now is a Puerto Rican as well. He recently moved down here. And I found that for the most part, investors and companies are much more interested in getting together to talk about investment strategies in bull markets than they are in bear markets, even though the biggest opportunities are in bear markets. And so our conferences typically have swelled accordingly in bull markets, the largest conference we ever did. So we do an annual conference. This is our 8th year in Las Vegas, CoinAgenda Global. The very first one was in 2014, so that was the start of the bear market for that cycle. The price of Bitcoin literally at the start of the show dipped below $300. And we were taking our payments in Bitcoin, so we're pretty happy about that. But, it was $300 and the conference was $2,000 at the time. I think our top price now is $2,500. But paid in Bitcoin, that would have been about 6.5 Bitcoin. So do the math. Obviously, Bitcoin has appreciated higher than conference ticket prices, and so it's a good investment to go and learn about it early. And to my perspective, it's still early in terms of where we're going to be in 5 years. We're not going to have 100x from here, but I feel pretty secure that we're going to have at least 10x and maybe 20x from here. And the question is, when do you get in and when do you get out? And that's something that I've done a lot of thought leadership on over the year as, besides starting BITAngels and CoinAgenda, I'm the head of Transform Group, which has a number of different divisions. We also spun out Blockchain Wire, and I'm the chairman of our technology group that I spun out, which is called Aspire. Aspire Technology is the for-profit technology development arm in Las Vegas, and then Aspire is actually a decentralized cryptocurrency that you can go to aspirecrypto.com to check out. It is a decentralized cryptocurrency that lets you build your own blockchain. So it's a little bit of what I've been up to lately. But in terms of the bull markets, I have seen that the biggest interest we ever had was in late 2017 when we had our largest ever CoinAgenda in Europe, our largest ever in Asia. Actually, Asia was early 18, and our largest ever in Puerto Rico. We've done 5 of them now, which the 2018 people call that crypto Woodstock, because literally we sold out every hotel, Airbnb, piece of floor on the island. People literally, we were happy to sell them more tickets. We had about 800 attendees, but there was no place to stay. I mean, literally, there was no place to stay on the entire island. So that was when Ethereum hit the crazy price of $1,400 after having been just $30 a year ago. Today, as we're filming this, it hit $2,700. And, I certainly believe by the top of the bull market, we'll be over 10,000 for Ethereum, and we'll be over 115,000 for Bitcoin, perhaps even higher, because parabolic trends tend to reach their all-time high in a big final burst of glory. And then the media remembers that as if everybody bought at that price. There was a very small period of time during the last wave that Bitcoin was at 19,000. There was only a couple of weeks that it was ever over even 10,000. And but the media are like, Bitcoin's dead. It's gone from 19,300 to 3,000. That was the best time to buy it, and I was. So that usually happens about 2 years after the all-time high. I do this whole talk about the 4 seasons of Bitcoin. I'm happy to talk about it a little bit here. And right now we are clearly in Bitcoin summer, and it'll last beyond the summer. It should last until the end of the year. And so we like to hold conferences during the summer season when there's the most interest. And our very first CoinAgenda Europe was in 2017 in Barcelona. We sold out, expanded it, sold out again. Literally had people banging at the door with 2,500 euros saying, I have to get in, I have to get in. And then in 2018, we did we did our second CoinAgenda Europe in Monaco. Sorry, in Malta. This one will be Monaco. We decided to hold off in 2019 because of the bear market. We just couldn't find as many sponsors then. And then 2020, of course, we held off because of COVID. But we're delighted that Monaco is opening up, and we're delighted to have our third CoinAgenda Europe at what I believe will be sort of near the peak of the bull market this September, and with a lot of interest when Bitcoin by then should be flirting around 100,000, if not already passed. And we expect to have a lot of interest. I'm seeing this time around way more interest in altcoins because there's this perception that it's too late to get into Bitcoin. People are like, oh man, I wish I got into Bitcoin when it was a couple $100 when you told me the first time around. Now that it's 55,000, it's too expensive for me. So I think I'm going to buy Dogecoin. And, people don't realize that you can still buy 1/10 of a Bitcoin, 100th of a Bitcoin, 1,000th of the Bitcoin. And at this point, if you're, kind of middle class and, you're only putting a part of your investment into Bitcoin, try to get one full Bitcoin before you invest in anything else, because that's the safest of the crypto investments.
That makes a lot of sense. And obviously there's a lot of new investors who are just discovering blockchain now, which is wonderful. It's no longer a select club of a few. It is now mainstream. So what a great time, especially as Europe is coming back to life. I mean, obviously people are now able to get together in groups again. So we're really looking forward to welcoming you to the SGF Summer Forum in Monaco. We might have been the only one, but it was very interesting for very few. We expect this summer, we're going to have right around 12 companies and about 150 wealth managers. And we're very much looking forward to having you as a keynote speaker. during that conference, Michael. So I know you have a busy schedule. I know you're planning to be in Monaco for most of that week, and hopefully also laying the groundwork for the big CoinAgenda. So let's see. So going back to BITAngels, great opportunity, obviously, to expand in Europe with BITAngels. I was also, in that original bull run in 2017, and we were seeing meetings throughout Europe, for individual companies that were drawing 200-300 people at a time. Obviously, we seem to be going back into that kind of an environment. So great time to, expand BITAngels in Europe. I know we've talked about a few different cities as sort of key cities, Monaco, the first among them, followed by Geneva, Milan, and Luxembourg. What is your outlook for, the BITAngels network?
Yeah, I mean, we're at I think 15 or 16 cities right now. The goal from the beginning was to have at least 50 globally and eventually 100. My sort of kind of guide for expansion has been Startup Grind, which is it's not an investor network. It's sort of a community-driven technology network. But I actually worked with them 10 years ago when I was the city leader for Las Vegas for Startup Grind. And Startup Grind was basically, you gathered startups and you'd have sponsors and speakers. And it wasn't so much pitches, although sometimes people would sponsor a pitch. It was more about just sort of getting best practices from, local and visiting, successful entrepreneurs and investors. And I got first acquainted with them when I was, at South by Southwest, and they were looking for a chapter leader in Las Vegas. And then I had a lot of doors open from that, including, that's actually how I first got introduced to Vitalik from Ethereum, was because I was asked to be interviewed in the Toronto chapter of Startup Grind later in 2013, and to talk about I'd started a company called Internet Wire, which became Market Wire, which is now Global News Wire, the third largest press release distribution company in the world. And it was originally funded by Sequoia Capital, and we sold that for $35 million, and then it got sold again to a Canadian hedge fund, Omer's Capital, actually a pension fund, Omer's Capital private equity group. And that was for $100 million. That was considered like a very big deal in Canada. And so I was interviewed about that. And then they said, "Oh, we heard you kind of get into this Bitcoin stuff." And all the local Toronto Bitcoin community showed up, including Anthony Diorio, who's the co-founder of Ethereum, along with Vitalik. And Vitalik actually interviewed me. Talk about a double, turning of the tables, because he was actually a local stringer for the Waterloo and Toronto newspapers. He was only, I think, 18 at the time, 18 or 19. He had also co-founded Bitcoin magazine. So, very sharp young kid at the time, obviously brilliant, became, MacArthur Prize winner and, the founder of Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency. And so I was able to work on the launch of Ethereum through that relationship. So BITAngels is sort of following the same model of getting multiple cities around the world connected to a global network of investors, and to be able to then, meet people in your own community and be able to do deals really, on your own, not through some fund, but just you learn the opportunities and you're able to invest according to your own paradigm. And then obviously CoinAgenda is the place that you get to go and learn from great thought leaders. We've been fortunate enough to have some wonderful speakers at CoinAgenda over the years. The last physical CoinAgenda that we held at the global event in Las Vegas, because obviously we were virtual in 2020, the only time we've ever been virtual, was in October of 2019, and we had Charles Hoskinson from Cardano. You could have learned about Cardano when it was like 3 cents. It's now $1.20. He was one of our keynotes. We also had the founder, Jeb McCaleb of Stellar. Again, pretty nice appreciation since then. He also founded Ripple and Mt. Gox, so quite a career. And the nice thing about CoinAgenda is that it's one of the few high-end conferences where you don't get speakers just rush in the front door, be ferried out the back door, and you never get to meet them. At CoinAgenda, they're there for the whole time. I mean, we pretty much guarantee that because we go in and treat all the attendees and the speakers the same way. They all get, really luxury events and meals, and people don't want to leave. So our last CoinAgenda Europe in Malta, we ended up having our main dinner at a palace where the Knights of Malta were formed. And, our first CoinAgenda Europe in Barcelona, we ended up doing our, what we call our legendary dinner at the Casa Batlló, the famous Gaudi building. We did a takeover of that. And our opening party, we had a boat on the Mediterranean for 4 hours. And so, it was like, that's the way we roll. And so we're looking to kind of match that experience in Monaco in September.
Oh, I'm sure we can. This is Monaco is where the glamorous conferences happen. I've been holding events there since 2002. But what people really love about coming, of course, to a big conference in Monaco is that you can go to 20 or so different restaurants and bars, all one more beautiful than the other, I should say. And now, of course, they have the gorgeous yacht club where, hopefully we can also have a kickoff reception for CoinAgenda. Mm-hmm. So how many people are you anticipating in September in Monaco?
So I think it depends on the price of Bitcoin. Yes. We wouldn't put it on if we didn't think we could get at least 200 people. And then, so we're going to plan accordingly to that. But, our first one in Barcelona, we planned on 150. We then had to expand it to 250, and I think we ended up with 300. Again, our biggest one that we had in Puerto Rico, we ended up having 800. And so I'm basically going to say it should be pretty limited to about, including speakers, about 150 to 200 people. But I expect that there will be interest in that just from people who've been begging me saying, when are you going to have another CoinAgenda in Europe? And I was like, when the bull market returns and people are interested in buying tickets and sponsorships. But we are certainly seeing that right now. There's a conference going on in Miami that we're going to be holding some side events around. It's the first physical conference of the year of any size in the United States. And of course, Miami is, pretty much, similar to Monaco and Dubai. They've kind of minimized restrictions. They're talking about having 10,000 people show up in Miami in a couple of weeks for Miami Blockchain Week. And I've heard they've already sold 8,000 tickets. So, that's, again, it's more of a mainstream show as opposed to a high-end show, but there'll be little pocket side events. We're going to be putting on a kind of a VIP BITAngels after party. We'll stay tuned to that. We'll have it announced on the BITAngels.network site. And then, of course, you can learn all about CoinAgenda conferences on CoinAgenda.com.
Fabulous. Absolutely. And obviously, Miami is kind of like the kickoff to the season. Very exciting as well. We'll feature some information about that. The exact dates of the Miami conference and the events that you're hosting there.
So Miami Blockchain Week is basically June 2nd through 5th, Bitcoin 2021, which I'm not affiliated with. We're doing some side events. But they're putting us on their site as an official side event. So happy to promote them. They're June 4th to 5th. And then I am a keynote speaker at the Elevate conference, which is June 2nd to 3rd. And those two events, plus a lot of side events, are going to be the Miami Blockchain Week. And Miami, of course, is also Mayor Suarez said he's going to, accept taxes in Bitcoin for Miami taxes and start keeping Bitcoin in the city treasury. So he's been very progressive and supportive to the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency communities. And obviously, I'm in Puerto Rico, where a lot of the crypto world has been going for the tax breaks, both on individual, where it's 0 if you're Americans, and 0 to the IRS, 0 to Puerto Rico for capital gains, long term or short term. And and then also for the companies, which no matter where you're from, it's 4% to Puerto Rico and nothing to the IRS for software and service companies.
Absolutely. It's certainly the trend of the future. People can work and live anywhere. They can pay for things in Bitcoin and blockchain currencies. And we're going towards a borderless world. So obviously, that's something you've probably been predicting for quite a while.
Yeah, and I'm finally getting my book out. I'm hoping by the end of this year. That's about this whole evolving trend. I call it Pandora's Block. Pandora's Blocks is the name of the book, and I'm hoping it's time, so it's released within the bull market. So by either the December of this year or January of next year.
It sounds fabulous. So we're really looking forward to certainly promoting and working with you on CoinAgenda Europe. We've been covering at Swiss Growth Forum Europe for 2 decades, and it's really interesting how many trends that start in Europe come to America, and then they come back to Europe sort of 3 times stronger. I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing over the summer and fall season, and we certainly hope that you'll be in Europe more often, doing more events. I think your leadership in the sector is so important.
Thank you. I usually spend at least 6 to 8 weeks in Europe in normal years. Obviously, 2020 was not a normal year, and 2021 is just starting to creep back to normalizing as the year gets going. But 2022, I'm certainly planning on being in Europe, at least 8 weeks, mainly during the great weather months of June and early July. But I don't mind coming for conferences in March and November.
So obviously, Monaco is such a logical choice for international conferences. But above and beyond that, it is an international financial center as well. Is this why, CoinAgenda has chosen this location, especially for their first European conference since 2018?
Yes, absolutely. Because this is the year that we're mainstreaming investment in Bitcoin, which is something I've been predicting and looking for signs that it was coming since I got into cryptocurrency in 2013. The whole idea of BITAngels as well as CoinAgenda was to have a safe place for technology investors and financial investors, whatever their level of expertise in crypto was, to be able to learn about the technology, the opportunities to invest, as well as to meet other people that they can sort of like have use as a sounding board. And when I first started speaking at crypto conferences in 2013, I would invite technology investors who did not know what Bitcoin was, and they would come back and say, well, your panel was great, or your keynote was great, but I had no idea what they were talking about in all the other events, because they were talking about libertarian causes or consensus mechanisms or different programming languages, and I had no idea. And so that's when I decided to do CoinAgenda as a conference that was only about investing in cryptocurrencies. And it was going to be for not just crypto geeks, it was going to be for anybody who's interested in investment. And we cover the gamut from public stocks that are have blockchain as a subject matter, to Bitcoin itself, of course, as an asset class, to ETFs, which are now finally starting to get out there globally. We've covered over the years investments in Bitcoin mining companies, as well as in being able to operate your own Bitcoin ATM network in the early days. I think that's probably less compelling now than some of the opportunities in the new wave of DeFi and NFTs. And now all of a sudden there's some, opportunities to make money in meme coins, but you have to really know what you're doing. And so we will have panels on all of those things. We will have great thought leaders from all over the world. And, my original goal with CoinAgenda in 2014 was to basically be the Goldman Sachs conference for Bitcoin, because Goldman Sachs wasn't going to do it. Now Goldman Sachs may get around to doing it, but we're already 8 years ahead of them.
That's absolutely right. So to leave it on a high note, what is your best blockchain currency pick for the rest of this year?
Oh boy. So not financial advice, just sort of what I'm looking at. I have a diversified portfolio. The one I feel the most secure about is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is 55,000 now, and I don't see any viable scenarios where it's not going to hit 100 to 110. So obviously, I look at my other. There's large cap altcoins and there's small cap altcoins. Large cap altcoins are probably the top 20 or 30. The small cap altcoins are the ones that can, go up 20x in a month, and it can just as easily go down 20x. And so those ones are not for the faint of heart. They're, for people who, and you usually want to get in very early. For example, I'm an advisor to a couple of Launchpad blockchains. One of them is called BSC Starter. And so you go in, and if you buy, I think it's 50 start tokens, you get access to everything that's new. And so far, they've been averaging about 10x in a month, but there's no guarantees that won't stop immediately. But it's definitely a place to kind of get in early if you know what you're doing. You have to have Binance Smart Chain currency. That's the only currency that's accepted in the network. So it's for a little bit more sophisticated investors. Another one is Launchpool, which was spun off of Alphabet Fund, which I'm a partner in. And I'm an advisor to Launchpool. And, there's probably about 30, tokenized Launchpad services now. And so that's a good way to get into the new tokens. Otherwise, you just need to really pay a lot of attention. I mean, I think Jim Cramer on stocks says, don't buy a stock unless you're prepared to spend an hour a week on research. Well, that would go double for altcoins. And whereas Bitcoin, I think you can kind of set it and forget it and just check it every 2 years. About every 2 years. During the bull market, you got to know when to sell, and during the bear market, you got to know when to buy. Altcoins, you got to really be checking a lot more quickly. And I like Ethereum as well. I think Ethereum could outperform Bitcoin if you figure it just hit an all-time high today of 2,700. And I think if Bitcoin's at 115, I think Ethereum could be, stretching up towards 10,000. And so obviously on a percentage scale, that's higher. It's now just becoming the second class that is considered safe and acceptable by Fortune 500 companies. And its use case isn't just treasury and store of value. Its use case is all the things you can develop with it, including the majority of DeFi applications and CeFi applications that are allowing people to go and earn 10, 20% on their money, which is unheard of in the real traditional markets. And to be able to, if you want to take more risk and provide liquidity pools for tokens, you can make 100%. But you have to make sure that you feel confidence in your ability to work that, and to you have to pay attention to those things. But there are some incredible income opportunities in the DeFi marketplace, and there, if you think Bitcoin is early, DeFi is like crazy early still. And it's gone up from $1 billion to $60 billion in the last year of money under kind of committed to DeFi projects and staked.
So the top choice, let's call it Ethereum for 2021.
I'd say Ethereum and DeFi tokens. The big ones are like Chainlink is a big one. Aave is another big one. I think they've already had really big run-ups, so you'd have to look at maybe buying them on the pullback. But at that point, you have to be a trader instead of a set it and forget it. I'd say if you basically just go and put a third of your portfolio in Bitcoin, a third of it into Ethereum, and then have a third of it where you go and kind of look around at some other opportunities, but you have to track them. Otherwise, just do 50-50 Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think it's will be again, not financial advice, but that's more or less what I'm looking to do. Other than I can go and take chances with smaller tokens because I do spend all day on this.
I bet you do, and this is why we're so thrilled to have you on the show advising our viewers. So just to remind everybody, we're looking forward to seeing you hopefully live. Thank you once again for joining us today, Michael Terpin. It's a pleasure to have you here. Vladimir Seguin of Innovate Monte Carlo, And we will see you again next week. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Andreea.
The questions were amazing. So actually, we would have a last question for you. That's okay. We had a crypto bull in 2017. It was incredible. It was fast. But after all that we've been through, do you believe that the new start of everything is going to be in Europe? Do you think that this year is change and we're going back to something incredible like we had before?
If you look at the start of the bull market, really Bitcoin planned it in the beginning. It's programmatically in there. I like to talk about the 4 seasons of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin spring is every 4 years when the seed of the halving happens, and algorithmically new Bitcoin get cut in half. It's the equivalent of OPEC going out and saying, we're going to force all member states to cut the supply of oil in half. What happens? The price goes up. Here it's not immediate because you have the economics of miners who are used to making a certain profit level, and all of a sudden their supply that they're mining goes in half and their costs are the same. But the brilliance of Bitcoin is that it all algorithmically adjusts, and since demand keeps going up in a linear fashion, we've seen now several cycles in a row where about a year and change after Bitcoin has its halving, you have a new all-time high. And really, it's about 6 months after the halving that you have the economics adjust where the price starts going up. And sure enough, this happened again. So the price of Bitcoin at the halving, which was in May of last year, was $8,800. And by the time we got 6 months in, it crossed 10,000 pretty easily. So it's still a 20% gain. And since then, it's gone up, 5x and a little bit more. We're at 55,000 a day. We got as high as 63. So if it follows the trend line, we should be seeing all-time highs by December of this year, perhaps a little bit earlier. Both times in the previous cycles, you had the all-time highs end of November, start of December, and then the altcoin markets followed maybe several weeks later because a lot of the biggest holders of Bitcoin, the whales, the people who were mining and buying it when it was pennies, they tend to want to keep their Bitcoin, but they still want to be able to spend a lot of fiat dollars. So what they do is they'll sell off Bitcoin, buy altcoins, sell those off at a big profit, and spend that cash, depending on how big of a whale they are, hundreds of thousands or millions or tens of millions of dollars, and then go and buy back Bitcoin when it's at the bottom of the cycle. So if we hit 150,000, let's say, by the end of this cycle in Bitcoin, it'll probably go down under 50 in 2 years, and then you can buy it back again for a third of the price. In fact, there'll probably be a frenzy to buy, hey, maybe I want to double my investment of Bitcoin and still keep a third of what I cashed out. So, we'll see whether the cycles run, but I think they're pretty cemented in right now. Obviously, they can still vary based on different news events. Europe obviously has a big part of it for a few reasons. Number one, they're printing money just as fast as the United States is. And so they've also exceeded the United States in terms of where the average person can seek to get a return. You go into, I think Denmark is the first now to actually ask the customer for money to go and use the bank. So if I'm putting into a savings account, I'm now not just as a corporate customer, but as a retail customer, I give you $100,000. I get zero interest. I get negative interest. Why do you want to put money in that when you can put it in Bitcoin and other forms of cryptocurrency? So bonds are paying almost nothing. The cash is paying below nothing. And so people are hungry for other alternatives. And therefore, even conservative family offices are looking and saying, they're following what Michael Saylor made safe when he bought a lot of, a couple $1 billion of Bitcoin for his public company, that if Bitcoin on average is going up 200% a year and he can go and borrow money for almost zero, he'd just as soon never sell the Bitcoin and just keep borrowing money at zero and, buying and selling some of the, options and derivatives, but keeping the Bitcoin. And at some point, he's pretty confident, and so am I, that Bitcoin will be at least $500,000. It could possibly be as high as $1 million, and it's 55,000 now. So if you're looking at a long-term 10-year investment, you're probably going to be topping out in that $500K to $1 million range. And you can't say that with confidence about a lot of other investments. You just have to watch yourself because, and I think Europeans are very good at judging opportunities. They sometimes wait a little bit longer than the U.S. Investors, but when they go in big. And so you're seeing a number of there was a Norwegian billionaire that bought a lot of Bitcoin recently. There have been a number of other European entities, and I think that's only going to accelerate. And that then makes the family offices, some of whom have been here for centuries, say, wait, why am I going and getting $0 on my cash? And you can only buy so much real estate. So people are looking at assets. Digital assets have outperformed all other assets for the last, pick your period of time.
Definitely.
This is very interesting. And from an insider and a top player like you, I mean, you are an expert. It's really priceless, and we appreciate all those details.
So obviously today you're on the StarDeck at Stars and Bars. This is a fantastic location where both business, media, entertainment stars have met for decades. And of course, we're going to be kicking off the SGF Summer Forum at a cocktail reception. And that will be actually just after the initial BITAngels meeting where Michael Terpin will be in Monaco. So really busy week in Monaco. And of course, we're going to be taking people to various locations with Innovate Monte Carlo, beautiful places in Monaco to hold your business meetings and your investor meetings. We will be broadcasting from there every week. We look forward to next week's series.
We're going to have many episodes. At this point, the headquarters are the Stars and Bars, who is very generously hosting us, and we will have this amazing kickoff too, as you mentioned. But we're going to have some other places in Monaco. We'll showcase this great principality, which I'm so happy to be from, and I will contribute the best I can to this amazing project that we are putting together for the year and the years to come, actually.
Fabulous.
We're going to have a look at some nice spots of the Grand Prix and what's cooking right now for the new season, the upcoming season, after all that the world has been through.
Thanks very much. Once again, it's Andreea Porcelli with SPAC Chat, as well as Vladimir Seguin, directly from Monaco for Innovate Monte Carlo.
Yes.
Thanks again to everyone.